So hello everyone, welcome to our Digital Learning Day celebration. This is our culminating event. We have had an exciting day of being online with lots of students and teachers from across the state. We've got a couple of great updates from the Virginia Department of Education. Most of the Google Hangouts that we did today will be able to be found at the VISTI YouTube site, which is youtube.org/VISTI video, I believe is our login, and we'll get those links out via the newsletter and social media. But I'm really excited about this conversation. We do this every year as a tradition. It's been kind of our partnership over the years to feature our 2015 award winners. And these were folks who were recognized at the conference for innovation, for outstanding leadership and teaching, and so on. We also have a couple other folks in the room with us who are supporting us, including Derek Hoffman, who is the director of the Google Educator group up in Northern Virginia, and Tim Stommer, who's a board member. And everybody will have a chance to introduce themselves here in just a minute. But I'm excited to welcome you in. So I'll start. I'm Karen Richardson. I'm the executive director of the Virginia Society for Technology and Education. It is indeed the best job on the planet because I get to have days like today where I got to talk to just great people and now end my evening with a group of educators that I just They're amazing people. I really respect them, and I'm so excited to be here. I do a variety of other things related to ed tech. I teach online. I do some different projects, but for me, it's the online piece that really makes a difference, and I'm going to ask everybody to talk a little bit about their passion. For me, distance learning and the ability to have this group of people together in a room for an hour, nobody flew anywhere, nobody drove anywhere, we didn't have to deal with hotels or anything, and yet we're still able to come together and have this kind of conversation with all these people together, I think is just one of the most exciting pieces of educational technology. It allows me to live in the country where I want to live and yet still be able to be active in the community, still be able to be a teacher without having to drive to a university. And I think there are huge opportunities in the area of online learning and online education that we have really yet to tap into. In terms of both K-12, higher ed, professional development, and so on. So that's really, online learning is really my passion. So who would like to go next? We don't have to go in order. I'll keep track. All right, Mano, it looks like you're up. Go ahead. So Mano was our Dr. Mano Tolliver was our Making It Happen award winner this year. So Mano, go ahead and tell us a little about yourself and your passion in ed tech.
Oh, I didn't mean to go first, but I will. I was just thinking, just like kids, we were all quiet when you said who would like to go first. So that was exciting for me. Well, you can gather from my mixed accent of Georgia, Virginia, England, and India that I was born in India. And I was born in a Gandhian family, which means my grandpa was a follower of Gandhi, went to prison with Gandhi. So I was taught not to differentiate between different castes. You know, in India we have the caste system. And I was taught from a younger age to be passionate about serving everyone. Don't give any class status, but you have to serve. And give equal access to resources for everyone. So in India, untouchable children did not have opportunities even to drink in the regular water. They had to go to their own water. They had to go to their own school and different things like that. So from the beginning, equity and access to resources was a big issue for me. So I was taught to serve. So when I came here, as a graduate student and then came to Richmond, what I found out was a lot of difference, and that was a shock for me, about mathematics learning between schools that are more affluent versus schools that are situated in affluent areas versus low income. So my passion all along for the last 30 and odd years in the United States has been to see how best we can serve the children as well as teachers in different schools in STEM learning. And particularly computing. So I was placed, my path went in Mathematics and Science and Innovation Center. Well, it used to be called Mathematics and Science Center. Now it's called Innovation Center. So I was able to focus on excellence and innovation for all students in all schools, including Richmond City and the rural schools in this area. And then I was, Science Museum serving all schools in Virginia, and then Longwood University serving mostly the rural schools. So my passion also in this process, I learned about online learning in 1990 by taking a class from Montana State University in teaching mathematics that really turned on my lights in my brain, a different approach. So I've been involved in online learning. So I know now for over the last 10 years, we have done through research that blended learning. So my passion is STEM learning, computational thinking, and blended learning for teachers and students, and how we can provide resources and opportunities for learning for all students, irrespective of where they are. Does that make it clear? Is that enough?
Yeah, perfect. Great. Thank you very much. And I'll just comment to people because I had closed it, but if you're watching this through, we have a couple viewers. If you're watching this through the Google Plus community, we do have the Q&A pod open, so if you'd like to ask questions, you can. All right, so who wants to go next? I'm letting you be grown-ups. All right, Janet, go for it. Janet Copenhaver was also our Making It Happen Award winner in 2015.
I'm Director of Instructional Technology and Professional Learning for Henry County Public Schools. My passion, I guess, goes way back with technology because I've been in technology a long, long time. So I've watched it grow from no network to high-speed networks and no internet access or wireless access points to one, hopefully, in every room. But I have also made sure that the curriculum drives the technology in my school division because I think it's a very critical piece. And my background is also technology and curriculum both. I was an older student. I didn't go back and finish my degree until my daughter graduated from high school. So she went to Virginia Tech and I went to Radford. And no, we didn't share a dorm. She wouldn't let me. But anyway, I developed a passion for technology at that time because I took a lot of technology classes. But I never, ever forgot the main focus, and that's to make sure it fits your students, no matter, and I have a real soft heart for special needs students because no matter what technology you have, it should fit their daily aspect also. So I make sure that all students have the same opportunity to learn with any device that we put in their hands, and I think that's very important, and I think it must fit their curriculum day also. My other passion is digital citizenship because I think we've come a long way with devices. We have all the devices, but I think we've failed a little bit in trying to teach our students the proper way to use things. So that's what I'm going to work on now. It's a curriculum that we can make sure that particularly all of our middle school students have a digital citizenship curriculum. They really need to know when to do things and when not to do things. So they need to be safe online. And I guess if we could sum it up, my passion is the students because I'm for them 100%.
Oh, I said great, thank you. See, that's what happens when you mute. You immediately forget that you're muted. Okay, so next, Helen, it looks like you're not muted. You want to go ahead?
Yes, so my name is Helen Crompton. I'm a professor at ODU, which is Old Dominion University in Virginia. And as you can probably tell from the accents as well, I'm from England. I moved over 10 years ago nearly now, and I came over as a classroom teacher. So my job is in instructional technology, and I'm very, very lucky in that I focus on my passion, which is mobile technologies. But as other people have described, my technology connections go way back. So I was a classroom teacher for 16 years, and I remember typing in DOS, with the basic computers, working with students, so that was great fun. But I focus now, the part that I'm really interested in is contextualizing learning. And what I mean by that is using mobile devices not with students working in the bubble, but with students interacting with their environment and connecting various subject areas. For example, mathematics. My PhDs are in mobile technologies, educational technologies, and mathematics education. I like students to be able to see that mathematics isn't scary, that you can go out and you can see mathematics in the real world around you. So that's kind of my passion. Just the last thing is I'm very fortunate that as well as my work at ODU, I also consult. I work a lot for ISTE, and I also work for the United Nations doing mobile learning work for UNESCO, which is the intelligence division of the United Nations, and with ITU, International Telecommunications Union, which is the technology division of the United Nations. So it's great that I can find out what's happening locally with mobile technologies as well as globally. And that's me done.
All right, I'm just leaving mine unmuted until the dogs bark. Helen was our outstanding leader of the year for 2015. So, Doug, I'm going to turn it over to Kim because I know she's having trouble staying in the room. So while she's here, unmute your microphone, Kim Harrison.
Okay.
Kim was our Innovative Educator of the Year last year.
Yeah, I hope I can stay in for 2 minutes. So I'm Kim Harrison. I am the Instructional Technology Specialist at a K-5 school in Virginia Beach. I'm somebody who loved technology the moment I met my first computer. It was a Commodore VIC-20, I think, in about 1982 or 83. And I was willing to stop watching my children in order to play on the computer. So that's not good. And I've always loved the connectedness. When I got my first technology job, I was a computer resource specialist at my school in about 1998. And right away, we had ways to connect with each other from school to school that even teachers in a classroom in a building couldn't do with the people they worked with and saw every single day. And that just turned me on. I just absolutely love that. So I am the chairman of VISTI's Virtual Environments PLN. And that would be my passion. And I think it's that connectedness, the networking, the fact that I can meet people in a virtual world from all over the world and sit down with them as though we're knee to knee and talk about what's going on in our classrooms and our schools and what our passions are, what we're looking for next, what our kids are doing. So that's my thing. And then more recently, because I've enjoyed virtual worlds so much, I've always looked for the virtual world for kids, the one I can share with students. We've tried a number of things, but Minecraft is hands down the winner. So I brought Minecraft to Virginia Beach City Public Schools. They accepted it. There are now several schools dabbling in it, and just recently we used it during the instructional day for the first time. So that's my thing.
Your kids today talked about the East Coast Miners group that they're part of, which I think is kind of exciting. They were really psyched about that. So Doug Saunders. Doug is from Henrico County, and he was our Outstanding Teacher of the Year. Doug, tell us a little about yourself and your passion.
Yeah, hey everyone. My name is Doug Saunders. I'm an instructional technology resource teacher in Henrico County. Currently I'm at Holman Middle School in Glen Allen, Virginia. And I would have to say that my passion lies basically in immersion technologies. Adding content to my Feedly feed, establishing a PLN on Twitter, and just getting information, absorbing that information, and then sharing it on my blog, holmaniTRT.com. I'm also a Google fanatic. I love everything Google, so it breaks my heart, Karen, that Chrome crashed for you.
Yeah.
Today, you had to switch over to Safari.
My heart was a little broken, too.
But honestly, I probably haven't used Microsoft Office in about 4 years. So I'm definitely a Google fan.
Wow.
And I'm fortunate enough to work in a county that has a one-to-one laptop initiative. So every student, middle school student, high school student, has their own laptop computer. So it's nice because that kind of helps to take away that digital divide.
Great. All right, Derek Hoffman, one of you speak?
Okay.
Good.
Well, I feel like the black sheep because I don't have a cool accent like half of the speakers tonight. So, unfortunately, I have a Midwestern Chicago accent. So,
And
please
that's
bear with
pretty
that.
darn cool in my world.
Okay, well, that's good. So my name is Derek Hoffman. I have I think officially the longest title in Loudoun County. I'm the School Improvement and Student Achievement Program Coordinator up in Loudoun County, and looks like I just lost connection, but maybe not. Let's see.
You're still here. We can hear you.
Cool. So that's sort of a title that covers a gamut of things. Anything from a program manager for our assessment software to tech training to data analysis to just whatever schools need. I'm there to help them out where their needs are. Previously, my past life, I was a high school Spanish teacher for 8 years, and then I was a technology resource teacher for 5 years at a high school. So, really, when I look back, I'm sort of in that gray area of the digital divide. I'm older than I look and younger than I feel, so I won't reveal my age. But we always had a computer. It seemed like in my life. I'm looking back. We always had an Apple IIe, an Apple IIc. We had the Texas Instrument keyboard you connected to your TV. So we were always sort of computers around all the time, which is kind of cool to think back that I was right in that sort of changeover from the analog to the digital, I guess, with technology. So it's always sort of been ingrained in my brain. But like Doug here, I'm a huge Google fanatic. I've been to the Google Teacher Summit in Sweden about 2 years ago. I'm the moderator for the GEG group up in Northern Virginia. I love everything Google. I drank the Kool-Aid a long time ago. But I also, my passion, I think, when I look back now, it's changed significantly in the last couple of years, because I'm really just looking for the tools that are going to make education better for teachers and students. I was like Google gung-ho about everything, like it's Google this, Google that. And I love the product. I think they're the best out there for education. But they don't fit all the needs, so I kind of took a step back. And I'm really just passionate. Like, I want to find the best tool that's going to fit everybody's needs, and it doesn't have to have a name on it, but just a platform that allows you to just be versatile in your teaching and learning and differentiate for all students. And like anything, I think they all have their pros and cons. So it's just finding what fits your needs and your students' needs and kind of going with it and learning it to the best of your ability.
All right, great. And our last face in the community, who I hope is willing to introduce himself, he gets a very special shout out because he's been with me since the beginning this morning, and I have a really high tolerance for being online, but boy, today has really pushed it along. So anyway, we are having so much fun. Tim Stommer, tell us a little about yourself and your passion.
Well, I'm currently unemployed. I recently left Fairfax County Schools, and I've been involved with professional development for many, many years. As far as passions, I've got a lot of different things I've been working on over the years. I'm really interested in Google Earth and Google Maps and all of the various tools that go with those, with information management, with online learning, that kind of thing. So lots of different things. I'm a generalist more than a specific. So.
All right, good. Well, welcome, and I should say that Tim is an esteemed member of the VISTE Board of Directors as well as the VISTE Conference Committee, so he's a big help to the organization. So I'm willing to throw it open. I heard a couple things in introductions that I could pursue, but did somebody else hear something they wanted to say? I want to follow up on that.
Well, I do want to follow up with Mano. One of the things that we just were introduced to this week was our district's moving towards a blended learning model. So we have education elements coming in for the next few years to do some consulting and everything. So the blended learning model is something I think coming down the pike in the next 2 years for all. Well, at that point, I think we'll have 90 schools in the district. So I kind of want to pick your brain. What have your been experiences of rolling out a huge, sort of like a 160 or 180 of education when it comes to the traditional face-to-face and now building in a blended learning component?
So if you're asking me, I don't know what type of blended learning model this company is doing, but what we have done a study Looking at the teachers with whom we provided professional development, because that's what all Longwood University's institute is for. Mainly our focus or the goal is professional development. We have done it face-to-face. Then we have done totally asynchronous. And then we have combined. For the last 7 years, we found out only the blended approach of either face-to-face or synchronous with asynchronous is the way that it works the best. If you do just face-to-face, they come and then go, you don't get anything. But when you combine that asynchronous with a face-to-face or synchronous learning and asking the teachers to create activities and projects and showcase the project with the student artifacts at the end in a face-to-face environment. Every teacher is so proud to show everything that the students created and what they have accomplished in the classroom. So at the Institute, we have found out that blended learning works better than just face-to-face. And also, it's because of that. I know Paula probably is online, and she's a current director. I retired. We have been able to provide the blended learning opportunities, not only in the United States and Virginia, but also we were able to provide opportunities for teachers in India and South Africa and Ghana and other countries only asynchronous. They were not in blended learning, but these countries, they were participating in blended learning opportunities. And we continue our conversation. I still, even though I have left the Institute, I'm still able to follow up with some of those teachers and helping them. And Paula may be able to add in her chat, and somebody can tell us what she's suggesting.
Okay, good. Yes, she says she's online. So, so what about at K-12? I think for me, because I had blended learning, I agree with you, Mano, that doing it for college students, it's completely online, but we meet synchronously, and that kind of holds everybody a little more accountable when they know they have to see me on Thursday, whether it's through, a collaborative room or it's there. What about K-12? Has anybody had any experience with doing some blending in a K-12 classroom?
Can I just add to that?
Sure. Go for it, Helen.
So, like Mano in higher ed, I do a lot of asynchronous and synchronous, but the new big thing that's come out is preparing pre-service teachers to blend the learning and to do online learning. So I don't know whether it's actually been put in yet, but Virginia Standards for Teachers is now requiring that. So a lot of training programs to prepare the teachers are including online learning. So that's definitely the model that it's going towards. So be interesting.
Well, others may be able to talk about Virtual Virginia. I don't know whether Virtual Virginia, some of the courses are blended or completely online. I am out of that picture. So some of you may know better than me.
Well, in Henrico County right now, Holman is fortunate enough to start piloting an LMS, a new LMS, which is called Schoology. You may have heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
And right now I'm in the process of training our teachers, and I'm trying to give them a blended approach to the training, whereas they can, complete the online modules, they can attend the in-person training, they can choose to do both. And I think they like having that autonomy and knowing that they have choice in what they're doing, and they really appreciate that. And I'm hoping by modeling this to the teachers, and eventually once it does go full force into the classroom and district level, that they'll be able to take those lessons and actually apply them in the classroom.
Great. Anybody else? Janet, what are you doing with online learning in Henry County?
We're getting ready in our high schools to offer blended learning. I think it's important, of course, for face-to-face interaction, like Mano said, but I'm also thinking that students need to learn also with a virtual class. So we're piloting a couple of things, and we're going to try to offer maybe 4 or 5 classes during the summer and during the year that students actually can take a couple of online classes and then a couple of traditional classes. We just haven't figured out the logistics of, do they come to class, 2 blocks, do they stay home 2 blocks? So that's what we're working on now, is figuring out how we're going to offer that particularly to seniors who really do like to stay out of school anyway. So we're trying to get the hook in with them, and maybe they do want to take, come in late and take their first block as an online class. So that's what we're working out right now, to see how we're going to get all that together before.
We're getting a little feedback. Yeah, folks might want to mute. Thanks. So I think that's the issue too for others. And we have a great question from one of our viewers that I want to get to here. But I do think it's that seat time and how do I know you're working on the course. I've certainly heard of plenty of schools where kids are going to school but taking an online class. And so there is that. I think we're moving. How do we fix that? The snow day conversation has been really interesting over the last couple of weeks in terms of what kids did, and today, Doug, was it one of your kids? One of the kids I talked to today said the thing she really liked about technology was during the snow day she could log into her Google Doc account and write a story and share it with her teacher, and her teacher read it that day and replied. And I said, well, was that schoolwork? And she said, no, I just wanted to do it for fun. And so I thought that was, she was really taking advantage. So here's our great question from Adriana. She says, in our field, we're always hearing about new tech for education, but unfortunately there are many barriers for tech integration in K-12. What would be your advice for teachers who want to experiment with those new tools but do not have the support from administration? Something maybe some of us had experience with. So what advice do you have for someone who maybe is the innovator or the early adopter but doesn't have quite as much support? And I'm going to put Kim on the spot because she has her getting Minecraft in Virginia Beach story. Do you have advice, Kim?
I do. I heard two things there. First of all, there's so many things. What do you try? You have to pick one or two things you're passionate about, that you really care about and think will benefit your students. And then you have to have good reasons and be able to talk about those reasons. And it helps if you have an administrator who will listen to you and trust you. That's how I finally got my foot in the door. I had to wait for that administrator and even that superintendent that I knew were interested in letting teachers try things. So pick something and know why you picked that thing.
Perfect, great. Others, advice for someone who's maybe not getting as much support? Janet, I see you turned on your mic.
Pick to your administrators. We have an exabyte challenge in Henrico County, and teachers actually have to write a dynamic lesson plan integrating technology, and they can win all kinds of technology for their classroom, but they have to put the effort forward to actually do a lesson plan based on our 4 C's and based on the rubric that we can judge it. So, that's kind of innovative too, I think.
Great. Anyone else?
So,
Go ahead, Doug.
There's so many different Web 2.0 tools out there, and ways that you can actually quickly get a formative assessment of your class. I would invite the principal into the room and maybe model like a Nearpod or a Kahoot or a Socrative or something like that, and show them how, look at this, 100% of the class has participated. So that child in the back of the room can't just sit back there and be quiet. It's a real eye-opener, I think, for the administrator if you do find that one tool that works and provides that feedback.
Derek?
Yeah, I was just going to add, kind of piggyback on what Doug was going towards, was having some data to back up your argument for that particular software device. Just having, some documentation of, here's a video of the engagement of my classroom is much higher than previously when I didn't use this. So I think having that data to back up your argument is going to be key too. And that could be qualitative or quantitative. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
Mm-hmm. And can I jump with that as well?
Go for it, Helen.
So I definitely agree with those two as well, in that from what I heard there, it's teacher modeling how to use technology and the students being successful. That really matters. And also, like we said, the research, because quite often administrators want to hear, okay, if you're saying this works, that's okay believing you, but I'd like to know additional information. So when you've got the research, like I said, it's great to be able to say, look, these are the statistics, and it proves it does work, and this come into my classroom. I'd actually invite them into your classroom so they can see what's happening and they can see students learning. But I would make sure, and I'm piggybacking on somebody else there, I think it was Kim, that make sure it was purposeful, that what you use technology for, it wasn't just all bells and whistles, it looks good. I definitely follow something like the TPAC framework where you make sure it's integrated effectively and doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Great. So, and I always make my students sit through my Oregon Trail story of, you know, the big technology when I first started was Oregon Trail on 5 1/4-inch floppies, and everybody got to play Oregon Trail. And so on Fridays, the social studies class trooped to the computer lab and played Oregon Trail. But there wasn't any of the curriculum. This sort of connects what a couple people said. So, you know, Janet, you had mentioned earlier about making sure it's in the curriculum and having a reason. Honestly, the teacher had no professional development. She really didn't know how to integrate it, and so it was a game day. It was Friday. We went to the lab. It was kind of pre-serious SOL days probably too, and the kids played Oregon Trail. But if you walked in, as my principal did one time, you had kids who had yet made it out of Missouri because they were busy killing everything in sight, right? They were, you would have kids who called it the hunting game. Oh, great, we're going to play the hunting game today. And like that was all they did. And so my principal eventually banned it because he said, this isn't education here. This is kids, you know, practicing their hunting skills, and this is not what we need. And really the sad part was that we had missed the professional development piece. We just didn't know, I guess, in those days. I'm making excuses for us. And the other piece was the software came with great ideas. There were ideas for keeping journals and, you know, and how to interact through the game and sort of things you could learn along the way, but nobody had seen those. All we saw was the software and playing the game. And so I think that even back in the old days, pre-internet and pre all the crazy Web 2.0 and Minecraft and stuff, you really need to make sure that you're using that time wisely and, you know, and really making the connection to your content and your curriculum, or else it does look like your kids are just spending 45 minutes playing a game. And in fact, if you Google Oregon Trail now, there's a game and it's just the hunting part. All it is things running across the screen that you shoot at. There's no loading the wagon, there's no going to Oregon, there's none of the actual history part of it. It's just the Oregon Trail hunting game, so it's pretty funny. So that's the story I always tell my pre-service teachers or my graduate students about integrating technology and making it kind of stick. With your administration too. So Adriana said thank you very much. She's not even going to try Minecraft, Kim. You're definitely the hero there in terms of getting it integrated into the classroom. So other comments arising out of that, or other things you heard from people's that you wanted to comment on? Mano, I think I hear you.
Yeah, I was going to say, if a teacher is not able to convince the administrator through her demonstration or exemplary model of instruction, I would take a risk in getting my kids to actually present about the idea why the technology needs to be involved. And then I know I'm not going to name the school district, but in one school district, when the I think Copenhaver talked about that, like technology driving instruction versus instruction driving technology. So teachers were able to cajole a parent to become a school board member. Then as a result, they are making some changes, dramatic changes. So sometimes we as educators, it's not only we are excited about technology, the immediate thing that comes to mind for the administrator is how much it's going to cost. She's asking for a $900 stuff. I don't have that money. So it's important we try to get other stakeholders other than us to speak for integrating technology and for the tools.
Okay, great. I like that. Kim, are you clapping on that one?
Yeah. When I was trying to get Minecraft installed through the right channels, I was also working on writing with 4th and 5th graders. So I gave them some pro and con articles about Minecraft and had them write persuasive essays, and I had a fistful ready to, attack if necessary. But yeah, and I've heard of people. We met somebody this summer who actually had taken children and computers into their school board meeting with Minecraft and had the children present to the school board, which I thought, wow, that's really something. But yeah, you need to get an audience, and you need to have a good reason.
Yeah, and along those same lines, at Holman Middle School, we have like highlight on instruction that takes place during even the staff development days or during the faculty meetings, where the students can go in front of their teachers and present a technology tool that's worked for them instructionally and that they enjoyed, and that's a great way to get buy-in.
I would guess from everybody, including other teachers, right? If they hear that, oh, we like Mrs. So-and-so's class because she did this cool thing, that's probably a big push for maybe more, potentially reluctant teachers.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
One cool thing I've seen, I'm trying to think where it was. I want to say Minnesota, but a couple schools have now started up like tech support clubs with students that run them during like lunch sessions, so teachers can come in for IT support from students during that lunch period, and it could be anything from troubleshooting to, I want to do this with my class, what's the best tool? And the kids are actually sort of promoting different tools that way, and that really gets, I think, the teachers to buy in that the kids really want to learn about technology, how to use it, and sometimes those are where your best ideas come from, are the kids.
That's great. So it occurred to me that the other piece that we've just talked about a little bit, if I can drive the conversation for a minute, is that professional development piece. Mano really talked about it with the blended learning, and we've sort of danced around this notion of providing professional development. So what are some of the more innovative ways? Doug, I think you talked a little bit about using it for, kind of for blending or maybe flipping professional development. What are some of the other ways that you're really working with teachers to help them figure this whole thing out? And it, from Minecraft to coding, but even to things like Kahoot and Nearpod and maybe what might seem like more traditional, kind of teacher kinds of things. What are your best advice for professional development?
Well, one thing I like to do is basically I have a process that's basically 3 steps. I'll go in and I might model a lesson for a teacher, and then I'll go back and we'll co-teach it together. And then after that point, I'll offer forward feedback if they need any assistance. So I think that's the process. So rather than just going in every time and saying, all right, check this out, and then leaving and being gone for good, you go in, you model, then you kind of bring them into the equation where we're co-teaching, and then let them go on their own and just offer the forward feedback from that point.
And that's really the beauty of the ITRT job, is that ability to have that more long-term relationship with the teacher.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest part of this ITRT position, is developing those relationships not only with students but teachers, administrators, district leaders. So that's another reason why I love my job so much, working with all those different people.
Somebody else, tell us your advice. Thanks, Doug. That was great. Someone else. Best ways, innovative. Janet, you want to go ahead?
Last year, at the end of the year, we had a 2-day conference for our teachers, and our ITRTs taught classes as well as administrators. But we had a reignite in January where we actually had all the teachers teaching the classes, and the teachers loved it. They wanted more. They only had it was like an hour session, and the teachers really caught on to different things, Web 2.0 tools or how discipline in your classroom, and they really enjoyed teaching. So this year, at the end of the year, they've asked if they can do that again, and also to have a full day of ed camp so they can get together to collaborate. So if you just get that little hook in with them, then they'll take off and start doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Someone else?
At least in Loudoun County, the last, I think it's been 5 or 6 years, we've had an Active Loudoun Conference, which has always been usually a day or two after school ends, so teachers got their grades in. And it was sort of a, here's something to kind of think about. We had teachers do all the presentations, so it's not just, these experts in certain areas coming in. The teachers promote different products they've used throughout the year, and it's been very exciting. Last year, I want to say we had over 1,000 attendees, because we opened up to other districts in the area. And you can tell throughout the audience of the day the excitement that teachers have when they leave, like, I want to try this, this, and this, and they're like, oh, well, I have 2 months till school starts again, so the hope is that they continue using it over the summer. Ideally, I think it would be great if we had it right at the beginning of the school year, but unfortunately, the way our schedule is, it's sort of set aside PD for the district level and content. So I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon, but that's probably our biggest effort that I think has really been successful. Timing isn't always the best, but yeah, we can work with that.
Yeah, I can't decide. Having it at the end does give the more go-getters, maybe, or the folks who do get excited, some time to think and plan and make. You spoke about people kind of making that connection. A couple of you did, really making sure you're using it in a powerful way. Whereas if you do it on August 25th, I've had 3 other sessions, one on insurance. All I really want to do is get in my room and hang up my posters and, and get my desks and stuff organized, and so I don't have that kind of reflection time. I wonder if, and I know they're probably not on contract in the summer, but an email a month after it was over just to say, hey, don't forget, you had this great experience. What in your Google Plus community, what are you doing this summer with the knowledge that you learned in Active Loudon? So a follow-up to kind of push it, because I think it does give them the chance to think. But yeah, on the other hand, it's summer, I'm on the beach. I think I work really hard all year anyway. So other folks in the room, professional development. Yeah, I'm Active Loudon's amazing too. You guys have more people than the Visti conference sometimes.
We don't have the candied bacon.
Yeah, or the M&Ms. So
I don't
Mano,
know.
go for it.
Yeah, I don't know whether Paula is typing something. She changed the model this summer. We wrote the proposal itself before I left in a different way. And instead of doing the 5-day of professional development on the interdisciplinary STEM learning with Hummingbird Robotics, she changed the model to do, I think, 2 days and then let the teachers go. And then they had to create a project and come back for the next 3 days to learn more. And I believe both Paula as well as Stephanie, they found that to be better than what we did before. So like you all said, timing is important, and I've always worried about when I was in Chesterfield, I did not like the idea of asking teachers to do the PD the week before and then expect them to go and integrate it, But Dr. Boscher at that time gave us some flexibility in doing the professional development differently throughout the year so that the teachers can integrate. So the timing is critical, and providing time for teachers to actually explore and learn the tools on their own and find all the failures that they may have, and then coming back to help them with all the questions and the downs is very important. I don't know whether Paula is responding anything.
She says it worked out a lot better than 5 days straight.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Things you've discovered in working with teachers? Go for it, Helen.
Yeah, I can add just a couple of bits. I'm trying to think of something different because all the ideas were absolutely perfect. Teachers,
it's a high-powered group we have in the room tonight.
Yeah, teachers doing the training, that's absolutely perfect because they do listen. So I was trying to think of things that people were interested in, and what I found is TIMS. I think Florida, people Google TIMS. I'm trying to think what it stands for.
It's that information matrix.
Yes, and it's a matrix, and basically it looks at different.
It stands for Technology Integration Matrix.
So, tell me again.
Technology Integration Matrix.
Yes. Technology Integration Matrix, very simple. And basically what it has is, it's a matrix, and it has looking at different levels. It's a bit like a SAMR in a way, looking at different levels of technology integration, and each one has different subjects, and you can go on and click and watch a video. So when when teachers are looking and saying, well, what does that look like? If I walk into a classroom and I'm doing something with technology, what's it look like? And that's really nice for them to see examples of what it looks like in a mathematics classroom when you're beginning and then moving along. And just those little videos kind of really useful, I think.
Great. So Paula also popped in to say it gave them time to process the information. She's talking about the program that Mano was talking about, by having a few weeks in between, do a project with the new technology, and then we focused on pedagogy the last 3 days and tied it all together. So there was that extended conversation about what you're doing. All right, last comments on this, professional development or any work you've done with teachers or so on. I think lots of great ideas, but I think that long term being able to come back to them. Doug, go ahead.
Yeah, in Henrico, we've had a couple unconferences, and I think the teachers like that approach as well,
We've been
because
doing
it's
that
more
for
of a
some
laid-back
time.
atmosphere. There's no real agenda. A lot of it is just serendipitously will happen on the spot, and it's nice because if you're sitting in a session that you don't feel comfortable with or it doesn't apply to you, as one of the norms for an unconferences, it's okay to get up and go to a different session. So the whole vibe and feel of an unconference, it's a good thing, and the teachers appreciate it.
And right, and I think that's the other piece I think I've heard from all of you is getting your teachers to collaborate with each other. When I first started teaching, the mantra was sort of you go in your room and you shut your door and you hope nobody comes in and bothers you, right? Especially if you're doing anything kind of outside the norm. Now we really want teachers to open their doors and invite people into their classrooms. I was so excited with the response that we got today from people to say, I'll make sure my kids are there. Doug, you were one of them at 9:15, and Kim, I think, got somebody else to take the kids to PE so those other kids could be available. I mean, we worked really hard, but it was great to be able to, reach in and see what was happening and let teachers know that there are exciting things going on. So them connecting with each other. I think at the VISTE conference we've tried to, and it's harder to do at a regular conference, but encourage those hallway conversations. So this isn't as much a presentation as it is a conversation. Come and talk to other people about particular topics. You don't have to have 25 slides. You can just, open it up and ask people, because there's lots of expertise out there in the room to pull it together. So we've got just about 10 minutes left, so here is the promised question for the end. I thought it would be fun to kind of do our own little horizon report. New Media Consortium comes out with their horizon, what's on the horizon report every year, and I thought this would be a great group to sort of do their own horizon. So what's on the horizon? What should our listeners and our viewers of this be thinking about in terms of what the next thing is, as it were? So this might be a prediction or something you're seeing playing out that you think is going to grow stronger. I'm making it wide open, and I'll let somebody who decides they want to start, because everybody wants to hear what somebody else says first, probably.
I'll go. Okay.
Hey, all right, Helen.
So, and I know I'm kind of biased towards this because this is what I focus on all the time, but contextualizing learning with mobile learning, in other words, getting out of the classroom and really experiencing learning, not just looking at it from a distance. That's my prediction.
I think to extend on that, I'm so impressed with Google Cardboard and the virtual reality that it's free now in your hands, or for a few dollars you can take kids anywhere in the world. There's some great apps out there to do 360-degree videos or pictures, and you can transport kids anywhere in the world. Or you can contribute, which is another component I think that students are getting more involved with when it comes to technology and integration with the world.
One of the kids today talked about using the Google Cardboard and how exciting that was. Google Expeditions, I guess, had come to their school, and they had had a great time using those. Okay, great. Who's next? What's on our horizon?
Well, I was just going to say, now that No Child Left Behind has gone away, some of that educational malpractice of the standardized tests, we kind of see that waning, which is good. So I'm thinking hopefully in the next few years there'll be more authentic assessment, portfolios, student voice and choice, that kind of thing with the learning versus only standardized testing.
Great.
I think new learning spaces too, where the traditional desk in a row and the teacher's desk in front of the room. We're changing some of our spaces to more like you saw, Karen, at Warrior Tech, like more collaboration areas, and students sit around on sofas and sit around at tables and collaborate. So it's more like a learning space that really takes learning to a new nth degree. I think that's where we're going.
Yeah, if I were back in the classroom, I would definitely paint at least one of my walls with whiteboard paint. I think that's it. Forget about hanging the whiteboard. We're just painting that whole wall.
I'd put the whiteboard on one side and the green screen on the other.
Right. Okay. Good.
There you go. Yeah.
So who haven't we heard from? Mano, you ready to make a prediction?
Oh gosh,
You have little grandchildren too. What's life gonna look like?
I'll tell you my
when those
concern.
babies- Okay, all right.
With the way that this 2-year-old, the two of them are operating their Dash and Dot and then Sparrows and BB-8, how they can not only manipulate but also they know how to make it to go forward, backward, left, right. Not the parents are programmed, but they are able to tell us. Our concern has been, what are they going to do when they get into the classroom in the preschool? So we have been discussing, and I think this is going to happen because I'm not just saying it from my own perspective. 3 years ago, when we had the Virginia STEM Summit, not in Longwood University, I forgot where I was sitting, maybe with the Science Museum. I was with a group of students, and they are high school students. But however, in their visualization, they were talking about personalization, not individualizing, personalizing learning. So at that time, I suggested, whoever was sitting, some company, that from the time kids enter pre-K or kindergarten, I got to say, because pre-K is outside the K-12 funding in the schools, that based on the individual interests and the abilities and skills of the students, we'll have a system of assessing where the kids should go, and the students actually take ownership of learning what is interesting to them, and at the same time they'll be able to building their knowledge that they're supposed to have. So that is going to go along with the schools of the future, right? So it may not happen next year, but probably 3 to 5 years, those who are concerned about building the schools of the future to take this personalizing curriculum, personalizing learning and curriculum approach. So that's going to happen. It's going to take a lot of money with that. There may be some people who are always concerned about digital equity. My kid is not doing that, like every child doesn't get to play with a Sparrow or a BB-8 at home, right? It's $100 and odd. I might buy an Xbox, but I always hesitate to buy something like a robotics for my kids. So there may be people who raise red flags on that, but it's going to happen, okay? But one thing that's going to easily happen, in fashion and other things, we always say every 30 years things repeat. I don't know the exact
That's
words.
my philosophy. You just got to it. Yep, go ahead.
Like that. And remember the days when in Virginia Penn, when we started that, we did a lot of telecommunication projects, not only within Virginia, but across the globe. But then when all these, who said that about Nickelby? When the Nickelby came in, teachers, really didn't want to participate in anything because they had so much pressure about making sure the kids pass. So now that is a little bit relaxed. I don't think it's completely gone because somebody's going to always ask us about measuring progress. However, I see the global collaboration is going to come very strongly, not here and there like I'm talking with an author or I'm doing an environmental science project, but teachers are going to really looking forward to globally collaborate and make the learning locally relevant and globally competent. How's that?
I like it.
Yeah.
And there is the 30 years. So if you go back, and I promise I'll make this short, but if I were going to go back and write a new paper, this would be my research paper. 1983, I think, was the nation at risk. Yeah. It was all about what the kids didn't know. If you go back 30 years from that, it was Sputnik that launched sort of the huge STEM thing and lots of hands-on and rocket boys and all that. But 1982, 83, they said, yeah, but they don't know anything. They don't know where states are, whatever. And 30 years later, we are seeing that playing out because what are we doing? We're testing their knowledge, and we are seeing the swing. I'm sort of happy to hear you say that, Mano, that you're seeing it too. It's not going to happen next year, but I think it is happening, and from every person in this room, I think we're hearing the ways that it's starting to happen. So, Kim Harrison, I don't think we've heard from you. Do you have a prognostication?
Well, I like the things that Mano was saying. I wrote down personalized learning. We're starting to work with that in Virginia Beach, giving children choices, computerized programs that take them where they need to be. I'd like to see some of the furniture go away and see more movement. I know that a lot of schools have one-to-one, but my school doesn't. I want desperately for my school to have one-to-one. I also want all of the children to have internet capability at home. I want them to have a device they can take home because they're not allowed to use Dad's work computer. And they're interested, listening to my kids on Digital Learning Day this morning, they're interested in using computers at home, but all they seem to do is homework. You want them to have more freedom to express themselves and be creative. And
maybe they do, Kim, and they were just nervous this morning about saying the right thing. You know,
Maybe.
They wanted us all to think that they were diligent students who the only thing they do on technology is schoolwork and homework.
Do math.
Right? Yeah, right. Reading and math. I did have to laugh, but I think they were nervous and they,
We're just so focused on data. I'm so sick of that word. I want it to go away. I know we have to assess children and know where they are, but can't we do it in little bites and react to that little bite instead of doing this god-awful huge test 3 times a year? I don't know. More devices, less data.
Okay, I like that. How about Tim Stommer? Did you want to get in here? No, he says.
No, I mean, I've enjoyed listening to what everybody's had to say, and I'm just sitting here nodding away because I agree with a lot of it, and I'd like to see a lot of it happen sometime soon.
Yeah. But I think the final bit of it is that we do just have 2 minutes here. I think ultimately we don't ever come together anymore and just talk about the technology. We talk about the things that technology can let us do that we really couldn't do before. In the older days, it really was substitute. I went from a chalkboard to a whiteboard to an interactive whiteboard. But you look at technologies like this and you think about the power to have kids connect globally or just connect to the class across the street, or the kids today that we're talking about doing a collaborative Google Doc on the regions of Virginia, and their teacher had put them in touch with somebody from the Piedmont and somebody, I'm going to show my ignorance of the region of Virginia, but the mountains and all the parts. I know there's a map out there somewhere. I need to go back to 4th grade, I guess. But they were collaborating with those kids, and so they said it's fun to write about where we live and know that other people are reading it. It's fun to hear about what it's like to live where they live, and that's, it's kind of a simple idea on the face of it, and yet that collaboration that those kids are seeing and that ability to connect outside their classroom, I think is a really powerful idea at the end of the day as well. So we got 1 minute left. Somebody want to be the closing thought here?
Well, at last somebody was talking about the Kim was talking about the teachers or the students saying some things, but it's because rest of the teachers in your schools, I don't know what they are promoting. Are we still using technologies to automate learning? Most of the time we are just fitting it with the way that we have been teaching before, rather than helping the kids to create, and create their own learning. So that may be an issue that we are dealing with, and somewhere I learned 10% of, when you want some innovation to happen across, there should be more than 10% of the population in a school building. So we need to aim toward that.
All right, great. Is that the last word? Anybody else?
I'd like to say a really, really crass one.
Go for it. Go ahead.
Let's use 21st century technologies for 21st century teaching.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
21st century for 20th century teaching.
Yep.
I like it. I think that's a perfect ending. So I would like to say thank you for all the people here for offering your time up to that. We've had a couple viewers, and then this, of course, will be archived. But congrats again to our winners. Thanks, Derek Hoffman, for the support of the Google Educator Group Northern Virginia. Tim Stommer, I owe you big time for all your support today, but I think we had enough success that we're looking to kind of do this maybe another time this year for Connected Educator Month as well. But I really appreciate the conversation, folks. Thank you so much for all you do for students all across the state, and really at this point, who knows, all across the internet too. Go off, have a fun rest of the evening, and thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thanks.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.